and I am a professional coach, a former practicing attorney, and the founder of Wayfinders-atl. Today, we're going to be talking about self-confidence, which is something I've been talking about a lot with my clients since COVID started. I'm also going to be talking about self-love and self-compassion, which I think are just other characteristics of self-confidence or characteristics that self-confident people have. And I don't know about you, but I have had a lot of opportunities over the past few weeks to practice self-compassion. So as an example, yesterday, I tried to do a Facebook Live through Zoom with my friend, Sarah-Nell, who is the CEO of Ruby Brick. Y'all should really check out the video because I had a lot of problems with the Facebook Live Zoom interface. Even though I had tested, it really didn't go so well. And we ended up recording it and then posting the recording on Facebook about 2 hours later. And I felt so bad because it was dinner time and Sarah's got kids and I was missing dinner with my family and she was missing dinner with her family. And I really had to have compassion for myself and say, this was not something you created. This was not something you tried to do. This was something that happened and was completely not inside your control. So I also had an opportunity for self-compassion. It was my dad's birthday earlier this week, and our conversation on his birthday did not go as I planned. And I'd have compassion for myself about that too, because I hold myself to a pretty standard, and I consider myself to be a really loving daughter. And our conversation wasn't what I wanted it to be. So I had to have compassion for myself and say, this was the end of a really long day during a really hard time, and you can do better next time. So those are some of my examples of self-compassion that I've been working on recently. And I've also noticed that my clients have really been struggling with self-confidence during this time, which is super surprising because if I could share my client roster with you, these are some super badass women. They've got amazing jobs, they've got amazing companies, they've got amazing roles, and they are women who other people look at and think, man, she's got it all and she's doing it all. And these women are really struggling with their self-confidence and their self-worth now. And I've been curious as to why that is. And I think that a lot of it is because a lot of us depend on external validation for our self-confidence. So we derive a lot of our confidence from those atta girls we get at work, or completing a project and have someone say, well done. And our self-worth is tied to other people's opinions of us. And right now we aren't getting those same girls that we normally get because obviously we're working from home. We are doing many more things than we're accustomed to, cleaning our own houses. Some of us are coloring our own hair or doing our own nails. We're also educating our children. And no one's coming up and being like, great job, you really nailed that math instruction today, Sarah-Nell. Or, wow, your project was so great, because they aren't sitting in the office next to you. And people just are expecting that you're getting your work done. And things have been a little quiet on the Western Front in terms of external validation. At least it has been for my clients. And so I was reading Daisy Jones and the Six. I don't know if any of you guys have read this. I really, really enjoyed it. But there's a passage, and Daisy Jones is a fictional singer in the 1970s, like a rock singer. And there's a passage where she's working on a song with Billy, who's also in the band. And this is written for Billy's voice. And he's talking to Daisy. And he says, I said something like, sing it so hard, so that you can't control where your voice goes. Let your voice crack, lose control. I gave her permission to sound bad. Think of how you sing when you're singing to the radio at full volume, when you can't hear yourself, and you're not afraid to really belt it out because you won't have to cringe when your voice breaks or you veer off key. Daisy needed that kind of freedom. That takes a crap load of confidence. And Daisy didn't actually have confidence. She was always good. Confidence is being okay being bad, not being okay being good. I said, if you sing this song in a way where you sound the entire time you've lost. And so this resonated with me because I also think that a lot of my clients' confidence derives from the fact that they're always good. They're excellent at everything they do. And so that's not really confidence, right? Because confidence is okay not being excellent at everything you always do. So that really resonated with me. And I thought it might resonate with you guys. So if you wouldn't mind, I would love, love, love it if you would go down to the bottom right-hand corner and share this video to your timeline by starting a watch party. It's the last option. And I just think it's so important because you just don't know who needs to hear this message today during this time. So how do we build our confidence from the inside out, not reliant on external validation? I have a few ideas, and I have been experimenting with this in some of my coaching sessions with great success. So this is an interactive exercise. So you're going to need to get a piece of paper and a pencil and take some notes as we go through. So first, I want you to appreciate how special you are and think about your strengths. What are your strengths? I want you to write down your strengths until literally your hand cramps, because I am positive that that's how many strengths you have. So I'm going to give it like 10 seconds and move on to the next one. But hopefully you have more than seconds worth of strengths, and you continue this exercise after we finish talking here. So as you're writing these strengths, are you noticing that you're like a big deal? You have a lot going for you. Second, I want you to write down all the people you admire and what you admire about them. And again, I'm just going to give like 10 seconds and you can come back to this. Ten seconds of silence actually feels really long. Now, I want you to search for these traits hidden within yourself. And I want you to circle the traits that you just wrote down that you see in other people that are actually hidden within yourself. Frequently, we project onto other people those qualities we can't recognize in ourselves. A lot of times this is negative. It's negative projection. But in this case, it's a positive projection. And these positive projections can help us discover resources, abilities, and good qualities we didn't consciously know that we had. And they can direct us to gifts we've previously been unable to appreciate. So again, write down folks that you admire and the qualities that you admire about them, and see if some of those qualities aren't hidden within you. And third, I want you to think about and write down, when people compliment you, what do they say? I want you to think of every good performance review you've ever had. I want you to think of every good hair day you've ever experienced. I want you to think of every person who ever wooed you. And what did they say to you? What did they like about you? Right? And I want you to write all these words down of all the extra praise that you've gotten over the years. From your bosses, from your subordinates, from your spouse, from your children. And again, I want you to write until your hand cramps. So again, I'm going to give like 10 seconds because you guys can finish this after we're done with the Facebook Live. But how would these people describe you? Now, I want you to say your name out loud. So if it was me, I would say Sarah-Nell is, and read all of those beautiful words you just wrote down, all of your strengths, all of the qualities you admire in others that you actually embody in yourself, and all of the compliments and praise that you've received over the years from other people for strengths that maybe you don't recognize as strengths, but other people do. And I'll give you an example. People tell me all the time, oh, Sarah-Nell, you're so tough, or oh, you're tough as nails. And to me, that doesn't really sound like a compliment or a quality, a strength that I would say is a strength. But other people see it as a strength in me. And so that's something that I would wrote down in my praise section where it doesn't really resonate for me, but obviously other people see that in me and think that's a strength. And I want you to look at all of these beautiful words, and I want you to think, is this person worthy? Is this person lovable? Now, you know these words are true because you are your harshest critic and you put these words on paper. So these words are the essence of who you are. And I want you to love that woman that's described in the words, which is you, like she is the most awesome person you've ever met, because she should be. And this is so important. I like this is so important, especially right now, because our children are really looking at us and they are having so much exposure to us and they are learning from our example. And we want to embody the strength and the confidence and the worthiness and the self-love that we want to see in them, right? We ask all the time, how can we make our kids more confident? How can we grow strong women in our daughters? And this is how we can do that, by embodying that confidence in ourselves and by modeling self-love for our children. As Brene Brown says, strong back, soft front, wild heart. So I'll leave you with this question. How can you embody a woman in the words you just wrote down? And how can you live that out for your family? I hope you guys all have a great evening. And I would love to hear your takeaways in the comments, or something particularly related with you. I would love to hear about that too. I hope you all have a great night. Take